All right, we have some breaking news. It looks like there were 30 people injured during a bombing that occurred in New York City. This is in Lower Manhattan. And so far, the New York City mayor is saying that this is an intentional act. However, there is no link to terrorism as far as they know. As far as the current investigation knows, there is no link to terrorism. Now, I have to say that looking at just the footprints of this event, I don't think that this is involving the religion of peace. And, you know, it may sound strange to say that, you know, considering that I have not been the biggest fan of the religion of peace or of different organizations associated with the religion of peace. However, just looking at this, it just doesn't seem that it has the right footprint. First of all, we don't have a fatality count. It just, all we hear about are 30 people being injured. You know, that's very atypical of an incident involving the religion of peace. These are trained killers, so you would expect the body count to be pretty high. And here we just have, it looks like a random pipe bomb that just blew up. And nobody's taking any credit for it. Nobody is saying that they did it and they did it for this reason and that we're going to come after you and you can expect more attacks. None of that stuff has occurred. And you know, you would think that it would occur, especially if you're attacking a high-profile city like New York. You would expect a political terrorist organization to take credit because that is what the heart of terrorism is to create terror, but to also send a very politically driven message or a religious message across, and to help drive that fear. We're not seeing that. This literally looks like a random event. And it also ties in with another pipe bombing that occurred in New Jersey. Again, another just random event. I don't think anybody was injured in that incident. So again, that doesn't jive with the typical footprint that you would expect from a religion of peace sponsored terrorist attack. And then we also have to consider that the timing of it is rather suspicious. I mean, earlier in the news, we saw that the U.S. admitted to a mistake, that the U.S. government admitted that the military accidentally bombed 60 Syrian troops that were involved in fighting against the Islamic State. And so, you know, they just admitted this. And, you know, to me, it sounds so strange because, you know, killing 60 allies, you know, killing 60 people that were allied with your movement, I mean, that's a pretty significant friendly fire incident. You know, they're just treating it like, oh yeah, 60 people just, you know, got killed. We're sorry. You know, blah blah blah. Okay, let's get over to the next news cycle. What's Kim Kardashian wearing tonight? I mean, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And yet, you know, we have this major international incident. There were 60 Allied troops that were killed by our bombs by mistake. And it looks like, and I know it sounds conspiratorial, but it looks like this pipe bombing incident that occurred at random and didn't really injure anybody aside from, you know, 30 people, which, you know, you would expect 30 people dead. That would be a footprint of a religion of peace bombing. No, this is just 30 people injured, and it looks like it almost seems like the event, the bombing, was designed so that it wouldn't kill people. I mean, if you're really set on causing a lot of terror and a lot of panic, why wouldn't you put that bombing, you know, a little bit closer to where the population is more dense? I mean, again, the intersection where this bombing occurred is very random, and I mean, yes, there's always going to be people walking around in New York City, but you know, this occurred on a weekend. Okay, this occurred tonight, and Usually New York is going to be very densely populated when you're during the weekdays, on the business days. That's when you have crowds and crowds of people. It gets very dense very quickly. On the weekends, again, it's a very busy city. Don't get me wrong, but you're not going to get the kind of foot traffic that you normally would during a business day. So, this occurring on a Saturday night on a relatively sparsely populated intersection with not as much foot traffic as you would expect in other major intersections, it sounds like a red flag. It looks like a red flag. And it looks like it's a red flag operation that is trying to get people distracted, to detract from what really happened, is that the U.S. government just admitted to bombing allied troops, okay, or at least troops that were allied to our military effort against the Islamic State. They're going to try to take away attention from that major, horrific gaffe, and then point to a random bombing and say, oh, let's create this aura that the religion of peace is attacking us, or create some kind of divisive message based on this event. But it just doesn't seem like a true religion of peace sponsored event. The real news, which again is that we had a major friendly fire incident, and that should immediately discredit at least some of our military operations over there. It should at least cause some suspicion as to what are we really doing in the Middle East. It should bring to question our entire Middle Eastern policy. It brings to question, what is the true agenda driving our involvement in so many Middle Eastern conflicts. I think this, again, is it speaks to a red flag event. It speaks to a red flag incident. And I urge people not to get too carried away with this news. Again, you know me, I'm not a big fan of religion peace sponsored events. However, this doesn't look like it. This looks like some government psyop red flag.